I want to point out to people that, if you've got a war going on, there's three things that happen. They want to stop you from moving, they want to stop you from communicating, and they want to stop you from shooting. They want to put things in control that are going to control the internet, that are going to be more gun control. They don't want to take any of the gun control that they put on. They don't want any of that to disappear. And they're also going to be coming after our movement. These are all things that are happening now. And these are things that we need to be aware of. And this is the push to push this stuff back.
If you're a whistleblower or somebody that was there in Las Vegas and you want to call us, specifically if you were there and have intel, please leave the lines open. If you are a witness or have intel, like the lady that said that folks came in and said, you better get out of here, you're about to die, which looks very credible and matches the description of some of the other folks that people saw, I'd like to hear from you specifically. Please don't call the normal number. It's 877-789-2539. That's our in-house number, 877-789-2539. Specifically for eyewitnesses, victims, or their families, folks in Vegas, first responders, law enforcement, military, you name it, 877-789-2539. Matt Bracken's our guest. And we're about to get David Knight to pop in with us as well. I'll probably ride shotgun some in the next hour that Jack Posobiec's going to be hosting. And then the War Room's going to go for 3 hours live after that. We've added 6 hours a day of more live radio / TV transmissions. I'm hiring a lot of other crews, a lot of other researchers, so that we can send people to Vegas, send folks to Puerto Rico. That's all in the works, but it takes money, it takes energy, it takes time. We sell products to do that. InfoWars Store, that's one word, InfoWarsStore.com. And quite frankly, I was up working late last night, and I've been up since 6 a.m., and I've been here at the office since 8 a.m. working. And I'm not tired, but I know as soon as the adrenaline's over in a couple hours and I get off air, that I'm going to be tired for a couple hours. Then I get energy back. But I'm not going to be tired because I don't even do it every day. A lot of folks take them all the time, take 2 or 3 of them. I just take one every couple days when I need it, sometimes a couple more if I'm really working 24 hours a day when I do Coast to Coast AM. I've got a Brain Force Plus, now stronger pill, 20% more caplets, powder caplets, so you absorb it better in each bottle. 50% off. And by the way, I'm not doing 50% off because it's hard to sell. It is overall our best seller. It's been sold out for months. I'm doing it because we just got a giant shipment in, the biggest ever. It's so popular, and I want you to try it. So we don't raise the price and then lower it and say it's 50% off. Everybody that's ordered it will know this is 50% off. Our last biggest special was 40, but you bought so much of it that I can lower the price even more. In fact, theoretically, if you ordered enough of it, I could sell it for like $1 above what it costs if you ordered millions of bottles of it, but that's not how it works. But when you order thousands and thousands more bottles, I can lower the price as we sell more because I want you to have it. I want you to try it. I want you to experience it. It's $19.95. Leading competitors are $70 for a similar compound. We normally sell it for $40. It's $19.95 right now. It's got everything in it. So check it out for yourself. It's amazing. InfoWarsLive.com or 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139 or InfoWarsLife.com. I'm going to take my Brain Force right now. Again, thank you all for making this transmission possible. Now, Matt Bracken's going to split the time in this segment with David Knight, who'll be hosting the rest with me coming up in the next segment. Matt will continue. But just briefly, Matt, the left says they're launching this civil war. They're going for broke now. They know they're losing. You've got martial law in Catalan over in Spain. You've got jihadists attacking every day. Clearly, all over the world, the left, allied with Islam, is making its move. The attacks on a graph are going straight up. And so it's going to go from every day to every 6 hours soon. Like you talked about years ago about how it would just suddenly metrically increase. And I think we've hit that point.
Yeah, I think so, especially when you consider after the 3 hurricanes that the federal government is pretty much maxed to its limit. I mean, we've got 2 of our primary Aegis-class destroyers out of action due to incompetence. signaling how our military has been so infected by the rot of political correctness that we can't even keep a destroyer out of the way of a
You just said
tanker.
it. Everybody's saying it. We have GPS that controls it. That we have saboteurs by Obama everywhere in the military.
Well, and they've just let in people like this lieutenant that's now at the 10th Mountain, who was at West Point wearing Che Guevara shirts, and nobody turned him in.
And who dreams of killing capitalists on his website.
And who had an Islamist professor at West Point who took this teenage boy to India for a field trip, vacation together, very suspicious. I would guess that they took an off-the-books detour to Pakistan during that trip.
Of course.
Our vaunted NSA and FBI, CIA never flagged this, never saw this. So under Obama, and probably even before then, we've seen the entire federal apparatus staffed with social justice warriors and traitors. So it's not like we're just going to flip a switch and rout the communists, because we now have these communists all through the FBI, CIA, NSA. This what's her name, game show girl, the funny name from Atlanta that was
Reality Winner.
Yeah, Reality Winner. What a ditz. How the hell did she get a clearance to be
Because
working
it's a
with
total infiltration for this takedown, but they meant to direct it with Hillary before so that it would have government cover. They don't have that now. That's why they should give up. But they're running a bunch of robots and dumbed down useful idiots, as you said, so they can't give up because fire ants don't have brains. They're still going to execute the operation.
That's right. That's right. And I saw Dick Morris on C-SPAN last night. It was recorded, I think, September 19th, talking about his book. I think it's called Rogue State. I thought he was dead on. They've left the stay-behinds. The Obamaites have left their stay-behinds.
They admit they did. They admit they did. They said they put a stay-behind network in the New York Times back in early January of this year. Let's bring David Knight in right now. Both of you co-hosting together. David Knight, host, of course, weekday mornings, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. The Real News, it's David Knight's Real News is actually the name of the show officially. David, give us your breakdown on what you see happening here.
Well, you know, Alex, regardless of who the shooter was, regardless of what's going to be coming, what is happening immediately is Hillary Clinton coming out after gun control legislation that's in Congress right now. And this would be legislation to remove some of the controls that have been put on there. And, of course, we have the SHARE Act. Part of that is the Hearing Protection Act. Hillary Clinton came out and she said they ran from the sound of the gunfire. Imagine if there had been silencers there, because part of this is to remove some of the restrictions, onerous restrictions that are on suppressors. And we understand that even in European countries where they have heavy gun control, you don't have to have restrictions on purchase or possession of suppressors in some of those countries. But Alex, what they're talking about here is also reciprocity. That's a big part of this gun control act, to allow people to not face the kind of legal jeopardy that people who have already been vetted as concealed carry owners, if they travel to places like New Jersey, they can face very serious penalties. They don't know the state laws there. So after the Scalise shooting, there was a move for people to, we thought this was going to go through, yet the liberals see the Scalise shooting as something that enforced their hand in all of this, and we have seen them
instead of the fact for them calling for revolution and everything out of the gates before we even know what's going on, they're branding white males conservatives. I mean, it's like Trudeau in Canada when a Somali runs over a bunch of people, says we must eradicate white supremacy as a response, like saying you deserve to die, you're white. It's their weird religion, and it's white people pushing it.
Yeah, I want to point out to people that, you know, if you've got a war going on, there's three things that happen. They want to stop you from moving. They want to stop you from communicating, and they want to stop you from shooting. They want to put things in control that are going to control the internet, that are going to be more gun control. They don't want to take any of the gun control that they put on. They don't want any of that to disappear. And they're also going to be coming after our movement. These are all things that are happening now, and these are things that we need to be aware of. And this is the push to push this stuff back. These are firearms laws, and when they talk about the fully automatic guns that we're using this, and I sat there and listened to this in quarter speed, and I could count about 100 rounds in the first initial burst of this, coming very rapidly, coming very consistently. So they're going to come after the high-capacity magazines. They're going to talk about fully automatic weapons. But people need to understand that you have existing laws right now that make it very difficult, if not impossible, to get a fully automatic gun.
I think we've won the intellectual battle. Stay there, David. We're going to come back. Yeah. But, Matt, we've got 30 seconds till we go to break. What do you make of our sources that say that he was a basic Antifa and that he was connected to jihadis?
I'd say they got tired of waiting for a right-winger to kick this thing off. They've been trying to goad the right. But I'd say this guy just got tired of waiting and went after his most hated target, patriotic country fans. And
it's confirmed his father was a famous bank robber who did try to kill police and run them over with cars. And his girlfriend did go to the Middle East. And so that's exactly what my sources told me before it was even in the news. And I have sources that were there, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us. We'll be back. Can you imagine the level of infiltration we now have by a bunch of cutthroat and multinational corporations that just want to get rid of middle-class populations? They're very cold-blooded about it in their WikiLeaks and their own documents. Then all the dumbed-down people that watch CNN or 60 Minutes or programs like Saturday Night Live that are so incredibly hateful. And you know they're destroying their own future. But they don't care because they hate America. David Knight, I'm going to let you finish up here, and I appreciate you working so hard. We're going to go back to Matt Bracken, but I'm going to ask you the same question I'm about to ask him. What would you call this period in civilization that we are currently in, David? What would you call this time we're in?
Well, I think we've talked about it before. I would go with the term that came up by Strauss and Howe. I would call it the fourth turning. I think history goes in cycles. I think we are well into this cycle. As a matter of fact, I would say that instead of waiting for some war to be the beginning of this fourth turning, I think it actually already started in post 9/11. So I think we're in a situation here where we have seen liberty lose its value to the American people. The promise of security is all that they need, and I think we've got a big fight ahead of us to keep people informed about gun control, because I think they're going on the offensive again. I mean, Hillary immediately went to this legislation that is on the floor now that we're trying to get pushed through that put some common
Even though
sense.
It's her scumbag, probably her type operative. I mean, it's pretty conclusive.
Right.
ISO took credit. The guy looks like a leftist. It could be a setup, but it's all pointing towards a real guy.
We've seen them use false flags to get gun control through in the past. Fast and Furious, gunwalker programs. That was their false flag. And I saw this when I was at the UN. We're covering their vote on the UN Arms Trade Treaty. They had already lost that false flag narrative. They had killed an agent and it got exposed. And so then we had 1 week before they were going to have the vote at the UN Arms Trade Treaty. They had the Aurora, Colorado shooting to try to get the narrative back. They're trying to get
Isn't that the good news, that everything they touch blows up in their face because no one trusts them?
That's true. And every time we have a shooting like this, they come with both more gun control legislation or try to stop gun control legislation being removed. And you have the people going out and buying firearms for their protection because of what they just saw in Catalonia, or because of what Kaya Jones told me. She said, look, we had an FBI agent where we were, and he said, I'm on my honeymoon. I don't have a firearm. Does anybody here have a firearm? Amongst all of them, they only had one firearm with 7 shots in it. They gave it to him. But that's what we're looking at and what we saw in Catalonia with the firemen and the local police not being able to protect the voters from the jackbooted thugs that were with the national government because they were outmanned, outgunned. We don't want to see that happen.
And it was bullies beating up women. We've got to keep the Second Amendment. Thank you, David Knight. Host every weekday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Coming up, I'm going to co-host with Jack Posobiec for about 20, 30 minutes. Then he has a guest coming on. But we've got witnesses that talk about another middle school shooting in Vegas. George in Las Vegas, friends were there. The guy already dead, 2 bodies taken out. We're going to talk to him. Leo, Washington State, info on how Vegas shooting was planned. A lot of times they use drills as the covers. The people involved don't know. Then they'll send in a shooter, the globalists will, in the drill. Video published a month ago. So we're going to talk to all these callers. The toll-free number to join us is 877-789-ALEX. We've got 6 minutes left. So, Matt Bracken, you've got the floor to make other points as a former Navy SEAL and counterterrorism expert and author who has been predicting this with great precision.
Yeah, I think that Fast and Furious is spot on. That was a false flag operation. As far as the federal government doing a mass murder false flag operation, it already happened. It was called Fast and Furious. The intention was what happened, to rack up hundreds of dead Mexicans, blame it on the unbridled gun sales in the USA as a way of stopping so-called assault rifle sales.
And that even came out in the memos they got. Sorry to interrupt, but they even came out at CBS.
But even though it didn't work completely, there was no investigation. Holder, got condemned or, got sanctioned by Congress, but slap on the wrist, nothing happens. A strong memo, a letter in his file. He's making millions as in one of these payola lawyer gigs. But yeah, we've already seen false flags. A lot will depend on the honesty of the hostage team that went in. Are they all going to be deep state goons, or are there going to be some patriots in there? Because if they sanitize the scene, they could turn this guy into a right winger. I mean, he could have all Antifa literature in 1 hour, and the next hour it's all John Birch Society. So we really will depend on the patriotism of the first responders in that hotel room to see what really went on. And also we'll see a lot of the best investigation is done by the weaponized autistics on YouTube and 4chan and things like that, where people will do the work that the FBI used to do when they had honor and integrity, before they just became Stasi goons over the last decade, where even the honorable FBI agents aren't so honorable, because all they care about is their paycheck and their pension. They keep their head down and don't say anything while they know that, their reputation is being trashed forever. So yeah, we're in interesting times. And you said, what would we call this era? I would say this is the pot beginning to boil over era. This is when the ground starts shaking and the weakly attached fruit starts falling off the tree. These are the Scalise shooter, the Las Vegas shooter. These are the most mentally fragmented among the loose cannons.
They're the canary in the coal mine for the Civil War.
Absolutely. And I want to mention, while I got a minute, and I've got a big audience, this book is free on Kindle right now. Matt Bracken, Castigo Key. It's $0. If you click it, it'll show that, we have some people interested in conservative fiction, not just, Hollywood, New York, liberal.
Sure, very important. Tell folks again, it's a free book. The latest in your series has come out. This is the book before that.
Yeah, this is my latest book, which has a 4.9 star rating, like 250 reviews in 2 months.
It's about Islamic sex slavery, but you can put a lot of classified stuff in there because it's a fiction book.
It's my counter-jihad novel. But yeah, we're in interesting times. Every day that I wake up with electricity, I say is a good day. One of these days, it's going to be Puerto Rico for all of us. It might not be a hurricane blowing the roof off, but we're going to wake up and the television doesn't turn on. And then after that, all bets will be off.
And again, that's their plan. They admit it is. Why are so many leftists, mayors and people that know the food's piled up 100 feet in the air at all the ports, why would they just join in on evil, not deliver the food, work with the unions not to do it, just to get political points? I can't believe there's so many bad people.
Yeah, it's very evil, but that's part of the reason why Puerto Rico was, bankrupt and had such a corrupt infrastructure already. Any money you put into basically a semi-third world place like Puerto Rico, most of it gets siphoned off to the bosses.
So it really is a morality. It's a morality tale.
It is, and there's no zoning. Everything is graft and corruption down there. So if you send $1 million down there to put up power lines, $900,000 is going to go into somebody's bank account, and $100,000 will go into cheap.
And that's why the head of the union said, we're not going to, until we get big pay raises and stuff, nothing ships. He's admittedly holding everybody hostage and proud of himself because the evil people in his union love it.
Well, just remember the difference between Puerto Rico and any city in America is that a hurricane did it to Puerto Rico. But what will kill people in Puerto Rico is the lack of infrastructure. We're all living under an electronic glass dome, like on a moon base. We don't see it because we just see the stars through the invisible dome.
But without it, we become completely dependent.
Completely, and just like people in life support in a hospital, we die. It just some will die faster, some will die slower. But once this thing kicks off, I don't see how the cities don't burn. The EBT system fails. Food doesn't get delivered to the cities burn. The infrastructure running through the cities is cut. And then what? Well, it doesn't really matter to the people that want to see this happen what happens to America. The fact that we're in a civil war is enough. That's victory for them.
My gut tells me we're now there. Matt Bracken, enemiesforeigndomestic.com. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
People should go read his free book right now on Kindle. Let me just briefly tell the viewers and listeners, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have storeable food, if you don't have basic generators, if you don't have firearms, you're crazy. I've got all that. What I don't have is a place out in the country. I have one with my parents, but it's too far away. I've just been so busy fighting. My wife got the farmhouse and the well and the solar and all the rest of it when she divorced me, which is fine. So my children are over there part of the time they have that. But I am now really understanding that I've been offensively trying to stop this, and I've got to scrabble around and try to just gear up more. I got food and water and filters and basic solar at my house, but I've just got to start spending some more time taking care of me. And you should do the same thing as well. Plus, it supports the broadcast. The best storable foods out there at the lowest prices. InfoWarsStore.com, 888-253-3139. And we have 50% off on many of the nutraceuticals. But a bunch of those specials like Caveman, 50% off and others, and Secret 40% off, that's about to end. Brain Force is 50% off, because people love it so much, and it's now 20% more each bottle. But I want you to experience it. It's been sold out, but I want you to experience it so good. So now 50% off. Please support us today. We'll be back with the 4th hour. Jack Posobiec. Please spread the links.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.